In the land of Uz, there lived a man named Job, a man so upright and faithful that even the angels in heaven marveled at his devotion. Job was blessed with a large family, immense wealth, and a life that seemed to flow like a peaceful river. He was the richest man in the East, with thousands of sheep, camels, oxen, and donkeys, and a great number of servants. But what made Job truly rich was his unwavering faith in God. One day, far above the clouds in the heavenly realms, a conversation unfolded that would change Job's life forever. God, seated on his majestic throne, spoke with the heavenly beings. "Have you considered my servant Job?" God asked, his voice echoing with pride. "There is no one on earth like him, blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." But among the heavenly beings was one who was not so pleased with Job's righteousness, the accuser, Satan. He sneered and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But now, stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." God, confident in Job's faith, allowed Satan to test him. "Very well," God said. "Everything he has is in your power, but on the man himself, do not lay a finger." And so, the trials of Job began. One fateful day, as Job's children were feasting in their oldest brother's house, a messenger arrived, breathless and frantic. The oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby, and the Sabaeans attacked and made off with them. "They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." Before Job could even process this news, another messenger rushed in. "The fire of God fell from the heavens and burned up the sheep and the servants, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." As if that wasn't enough, a third messenger entered. "The Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down on your camels and made off with them. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." But the worst news was yet to come. Another servant, pale with terror, stumbled in. "Your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the 4 corners of the house. It collapsed on them, and they are dead, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." Job's world shattered in an instant. His wealth, his servants, and most devastatingly, his beloved children, all gone in the blink of an eye. Job tore his robe and shaved his head in grief, but even in his sorrow, he fell to the ground in worship. "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away, may the name of the Lord be praised." Despite his overwhelming loss, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. His faith remained intact, though his heart was heavy with grief.
Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar arrived at Job's home, their hearts heavy with sorrow for their friend. But when they saw Job from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. His body was covered in painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. His once strong frame was now thin and weak, his face gaunt with pain and sorrow. In silence, they wept and tore their robes, sprinkling dust on their heads as a sign of mourning. For 7 days and 7 nights, they sat with Job on the ground, not saying a word, for they saw how great his suffering was. The silence was heavy, filled with unspoken questions and fears. Finally, after days of quiet agony, Job broke the silence with a cry of despair. May the day of my birth perish, and the night that said, a boy is conceived. Why did I not perish at birth, and die as I came from the womb? Eliphaz, the oldest and most experienced of Job's friends, was the first to speak. At first, his words were gentle, offering comfort to his suffering friend. If someone ventures a word with you, will you be impatient? But who can keep from speaking? Think how you have instructed many, how you have strengthened feeble hands. Your words have supported those who stumbled, you have strengthened faltering knees. But as Eliphaz continued, his words took on a different tone. Consider now, who, being innocent, has ever perished? Where were the upright ever destroyed? As I have observed, those who plow evil and those who sow trouble reap it. At the breath of God they perish, at the blast of his anger they are no more. Eliphaz suggested that perhaps Job's suffering was not without cause, that maybe, just maybe, Job had sinned against God in some way. Job, already in deep pain, was hurt by his friend's accusations. But even as he defended his innocence, his friends pressed on, each with their own theories about why Job was suffering. Bildad, the second friend, spoke next, echoing Eliphaz's sentiments. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? When your children sinned against him, he gave them over to the penalty of their sin. But if you will seek God earnestly and plead with the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, even now he will rouse himself on your behalf and restore you to your prosperous state. Zophar, the third friend, was even more blunt. Oh, how I wish that God would speak, that he would open his lips against you and disclose to you the secrets of wisdom, for true wisdom has two sides. Know this, God has even forgotten some of your sin. Their words, intended to bring comfort, only added to Job's misery. Job knew in his heart that he had not sinned against God, yet his friends' accusations made him question everything he believed.
And that's the end of our story today, little adventurers. Job faced some super tough challenges, but his faith was like a shining light that never went out. Lessons learned. Stay strong, no matter what, even when everything feels upside down, like it did for Job, we can be strong and keep our faith. Faith is our best friend, just like a trusty sidekick. Faith helps us stay hopeful and brave, no matter what happens. Always be thankful. Job showed us that even when things go wrong, we can still find something to be thankful for. Thank you so much for watching Job's Trials, a test of faith. Keep that adventurous spirit alive, and get ready, because the next part of Job's story is just around the corner. Stay tuned for Job's Friends, Comfort and Accusations.